Today, we're going to explore what separates the survivors from the casualties. We'll learn how organizations read their environments, structure themselves to compete, and build cultures that drive success. These concepts aren't just academic, they'll help you understand the workplaces you'll join and maybe even the companies you'll create. So picture this. In 2000, Blockbuster was the undisputed king of entertainment. They had 9,000 stores worldwide and were valued at $5 billion. Netflix was just a tiny startup mailing DVDs to people's homes, a business model that seemed clunky compared to Blockbuster's instant gratification. By 2010, Netflix had transformed into a streaming powerhouse, and Blockbuster was filing for bankruptcy. So what happened? Both companies faced the same external environment, changing technology, evolving customer preferences, and new competition, but only one adapted effectively. This story repeats itself constantly in the business world. Amazon thrived and reached a $1 trillion market value, while traditional retailers like Sears and JCPenney struggled to survive. Google became a verb, while Yahoo faded into obscurity. Tesla revolutionized cars, while traditional automakers scrambled to catch up. Think of organizations as ships navigating treacherous waters. The external environment represents all the forces outside the ship, storms, currents, winds, and obstacles that the captain cannot control but must respond to if they want to reach their destination safely. Organizations face six major environmental forces. Economic forces include everything from interest rates and unemployment to recessions and inflation. When the economy crashes, companies like restaurants and luxury retailers suffer, while discount stores and repair services might thrive. Political and governmental forces create both constraints and opportunities. New regulations can destroy business models overnight. Think about how ride-sharing regulations affected taxi companies, or how data privacy laws are changing how tech companies operate. Sociocultural forces reflect how society's values and demographics are changing. The rise of environmental consciousness has created entire industries around sustainability. Generational differences mean that companies hiring millennials and Gen Z workers must offer different benefits and work arrangements than previous generations expected. Technological forces are perhaps the most disruptive today. Artificial intelligence, automation, and digital platforms are transforming every industry. Companies that fail to adapt to new technologies often find themselves obsolete within a few years. Natural disasters and human-induced environmental problems are becoming increasingly important. Climate change isn't just an environmental issue. It's a business issue that affects supply chains, insurance costs, and consumer behavior. Finally, globalization means that events happening anywhere in the world can affect organizations locally. A trade war between major countries, a pandemic that starts on one continent, or economic instability in a distant region can all impact businesses thousands of miles away. Let's examine how Amazon has mastered environmental adaptation. When Jeff Bezos started Amazon in 1994, he wasn't just starting an online bookstore. He was recognizing and responding to environmental trends that others missed. Technologically, Bezos saw the potential of the internet before most retailers understood its importance. While traditional bookstores were focused on physical locations, Amazon was building digital capabilities. They didn't just follow technological trends, they anticipated them, investing in cloud computing through Amazon Web Services years before it became mainstream. Economically, Amazon positioned itself to thrive during uncertain times by offering lower prices and convenience. When economic pressures squeezed consumers, Amazon's value proposition becomes even more attractive. Socially, Amazon recognized changing consumer expectations. People wanted convenience, selection, and speed. The company built Prime membership to meet these desires, creating customer loyalty that traditional retailers could not match. Globally, Amazon didn't just expand internationally, they adapted to local markets. Amazon India operates differently than Amazon USA because the economic, cultural, and technological environments are different. What's particularly impressive about Amazon is that they don't just respond to environmental changes, they create them. The Amazon effect has forced entire industries to transform. Traditional retailers have had to develop online capabilities, improve delivery speed, and rethink their business models just to survive in Amazon's wake. Not all organizations face the same level of environmental complexity. Understanding this difference is crucial for career planning and business strategy. Simple environments have relatively few external elements that affect the organization, and those elements are similar to each other. Think about a local utility company. They primarily deal with government regulators, their customers in a specific geographic area, and a limited number of suppliers. The basic technology for electricity or water delivery doesn't change rapidly, and customer needs are fairly predictable. Complex environments, on the other hand, involve many different external elements that are dissimilar from each other. Consider a smartphone manufacturer like Apple. They must simultaneously manage relationships with component suppliers worldwide, software developers, government regulators in multiple countries, fierce competitors with different strategies, rapidly changing consumer preferences, and constantly evolving technology standards. But here's what's important for your future. Most career opportunities today exist in increasingly complex environments. The days of working for a stable company that operates the same way for decades are largely over. This means you need to develop skills that help you thrive in complexity, adaptability, systems thinking, and comfort with ambiguity. However, don't assume that complex is always better than simple. Some of the most successful companies have found ways to simplify complex environments. McDonald's operates in the complex global food service industry, but has created simple, standardized processes that work across different cultures and markets. Environmental stability refers to how quickly and predictably change occurs. This dimension is independent of complexity. You can have simple but unstable environments or complex but stable ones. Stable environments change slowly and predictably. Traditional banking used to be like this. Interest rates changed gradually, regulations evolved slowly, and customer expectations remained consistent for years. Companies in stable environments can make long-term plans with reasonable confidence and can rely on proven strategies and structures. Unstable environments change rapidly and unpredictably. The fashion industry exemplifies this. Trends can emerge and disappear within months. Consumer preferences shift constantly, and what's popular in one region might be completely irrelevant in another. Social media has made this even more extreme, where a single viral moment can create or destroy a brand overnight. Here's the challenge. Even traditionally stable industries can become unstable quickly. The banking industry discovered this during the 2008 financial crisis, and again with the rise of fintech companies and cryptocurrency. Higher education, once the epitome of stability, now faces disruption from online learning, changing job market demands, and financial pressures. For your careers, this means developing comfort with uncertainty and change. The skills that got you hired might not be the skills that keep you employed 5 years from now. Organizations and individuals who can adapt to instability will thrive. Those who can't will struggle. By combining complexity and stability, we can identify 4 distinct environmental types that organizations must navigate. Simple, stable environments have few external elements that change slowly and predictably. Food processing companies often operate in these environments. The basic technology for canning or freezing food doesn't change rapidly. Consumer demand for basic food products is fairly stable, and regulations evolve gradually. Complex, stable environments involve many external elements, but those elements change slowly. Universities traditionally operated in this type of environment. They dealt with students, faculty, government regulators, accreditation bodies, research funders, and local communities. But all these relationships were relatively stable and predictable. Simple, unstable environments have few external elements, but those elements change rapidly. The fashion industry is a classic example. The main elements are designers, manufacturers, retailers, and consumers. But trends change constantly and unpredictably. Complex, unstable environments combine many external elements with rapid, unpredictable change. The computer and aerospace industries exemplify this. They must manage relationships with numerous suppliers, compete with rapidly innovating competitors, adapt to constantly changing technology, and satisfy demanding customers with evolving needs. Understanding which type of environment an organization faces helps predict what strategies and structures will be most effective. It also helps you make career decisions. If you prefer stability and predictability, you might be happier in a simple, stable environment. While if you thrive on challenge and change, you might seek complex, unstable environments. Just as different environments require different survival strategies in nature, different organizational environments require different structures and approaches. Mechanistic organizations operate like well-designed machines. They have clear hierarchies, detailed job descriptions, extensive rules and procedures, and centralized decision-making. Think of the traditional military or a government bureaucracy. Everyone knows their role, authority flows from the top down, and decisions are made based on established procedures. This approach works well in stable, predictable environments where efficiency and consistency are more important than speed and flexibility. McDonald's uses mechanistic principles to ensure that a Big Mac tastes the same, whether you buy it in New York or Tokyo. Organic organizations operate more like living systems. They have flatter hierarchies, flexible job roles, fewer formal rules, and decentralized decision-making. Think of a tech startup where everyone wears multiple hats. Teams form and dissolve based on project needs, and employees are encouraged to take initiative without waiting for permission. This approach works better in unstable, complex environments where adaptation and innovation are crucial for survival. Companies like Google and Facebook use organic principles to respond quickly to changing technology and user preferences. Here's what's important to understand. Neither approach is inherently better than the other. The key is matching the organizational structure to the environmental demands. Problems arise when organizations use mechanistic approaches in environments that require organic responses, or when they try to be organic in environments that reward mechanistic efficiency. Organizations have evolved increasingly sophisticated structures as their environments have become more complex and unstable. Think of this as an evolutionary process. Each new structure developed to solve problems that earlier structures couldn't handle. The functional structure was the first modern organizational form. It groups people by their expertise. All the accountants work together, all the marketers work together, and so on. This creates efficiency through specialization, but can lead to silos where departments don't communicate effectively with each other. Divisional structures emerged when companies became too large and diverse for functional structures to manage effectively. Each division operates like a mini company with its own functional departments. This allows for more customization to different markets or products, but can create duplication of resources. Geographic structures organize by location, allowing companies to adapt to different regional markets, cultures, and regulations. This works well for global companies, but can make coordination across regions difficult. Matrix structures were created to capture the benefits of both functional expertise and project focus. Employees report to both a functional manager and a product manager. This increases flexibility, but can create confusion and conflict when the two managers have different priorities. Network structures are even more flexible, creating temporary teams that form and dissolve based on specific needs. This allows organizations to quickly assemble the right expertise for each challenge, but requires sophisticated coordination mechanisms. Virtual structures take flexibility to the extreme, with distributed workers connected primarily through technology. This allows access to global talent and reduces overhead costs, but can create challenges in communication and culture building. The matrix structure deserves special attention because it's becoming increasingly common and because it illustrates the trade-offs organizations make when designing structures. Imagine you work in the marketing department of a technology company, but you're also assigned to a team developing a new smartphone. You have two bosses, your marketing manager, who cares about your professional development and the marketing department's goals, and the smartphone project manager, who cares about launching the product successfully. This dual reporting relationship creates both opportunities and challenges. On the positive side, you get exposed to different perspectives, develop broader skills, and contribute to important company initiatives beyond your narrow functional area. You might learn about product development, engineering constraints, and market strategy in ways that wouldn't happen if you only worked in marketing. However, matrix structures can be frustrating and stressful. What happens when your marketing manager wants you to focus on developing next year's advertising campaign, but your project manager needs you to work on the smartphone launch presentation? Who decides your priorities when the demands conflict? Success in matrix structures requires excellent communication skills, political savvy, and the ability to manage competing demands. You need to be comfortable with ambiguity and skilled at negotiating with multiple stakeholders. These are valuable skills that will serve you well regardless of your career path. Many of you will likely work in matrix-like structures at some point in your careers. The key is learning to see the dual reporting relationship not as a problem to endure, but as an opportunity to develop broader skills and perspectives. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated a trend that was already underway, the shift toward virtual and distributed work arrangements. Understanding virtual organizations is crucial for your career preparation because they represent a significant portion of future job opportunities. Uber exemplifies the virtual organization concept. The company doesn't own cars or employ drivers in the traditional sense. Instead, it creates a platform that connects drivers with passengers, taking a percentage of each transaction. This allows Uber to scale globally without the massive capital investments that traditional taxi companies require. Similarly, Airbnb doesn't own hotels or employ hospitality staff, yet it's one of the world's largest accommodation providers. The company creates value by connecting property owners with travelers and providing the technology platform and trust mechanisms that make these transactions possible. The advantages of virtual structures are compelling. They dramatically reduce overhead costs, allow access to global talent pools, regardless of geographic location, and provide flexibility that traditional organizations can't match. Environmental benefits include reduced commuting, smaller office footprints, and lower resource consumption. However, virtual organizations face significant challenges. Social isolation can affect employee mental health and job satisfaction. Building trust and maintaining company culture becomes much more difficult when people rarely interact face to face. Collaboration can suffer when team members are scattered across different time zones and cultural contexts. For your careers, virtual work opportunities offer unprecedented flexibility and access to global job markets. However, success in virtual environments requires strong self-discipline, excellent communication skills, and comfort with technology-mediated relationships. Management guru Peter Drucker once said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." What he meant is that an organization's culture, its shared values, beliefs, and behaviors, often matters more than its formal strategies and plans. Think of corporate culture as an organization's personality. Just as your personality influences how you behave in different situations, corporate culture influences how employees make decisions, treat customers, and respond to challenges. Culture determines whether people collaborate or compete with each other, and whether they take risks or play it safe, and whether they focus on short-term results or long-term sustainability. Culture is often established by the founder and reinforced by leadership behavior. Steve Jobs created a culture of perfectionism and innovation at Apple that continues to influence the company today. Southwest Airlines built a culture of fun and customer service that differentiates it from other airlines. Amazon's culture of customer obsession and high performance drives its competitive advantage. Here's why culture matters for your career. You can have the best strategy, structure, and systems in the world, but if the culture doesn't support them, they won't work. Conversely, a strong culture can help organizations overcome structural weaknesses and strategic mistakes. Understanding organizational culture is crucial for career success. The best job opportunities aren't just about salary and benefits. They're about finding organizations whose cultures align with your values and working preferences. A mismatch between your personal values and your organization's culture will lead to frustration and poor performance regardless of your technical skills. The competing values framework helps us understand different cultural types and their environmental fit. Think of this as a map for navigating organizational cultures and finding where you'll be most effective. Adhocracy cultures emphasize innovation, creativity, and risk-taking. These organizations value entrepreneurship, experimentation, and vision. Companies like Google and Facebook exemplify this culture. They encourage employees to spend time on personal projects, reward innovative thinking, and aren't afraid to fail fast and learn quickly. If you thrive on change, enjoy creative challenges, and want to shape the future, adhocracy cultures might suit you. Clan cultures focus on relationships, teamwork, and human development. These organizations feel like extended families with mentoring, collaboration, and employee well-being as primary values. Companies like Southwest Airlines and Ben & Jerry's exemplify clan cultures. If you value work-life balance, prefer collaborative environments, and want to feel genuinely cared for by your organization, clan cultures might be ideal. Hierarchy cultures emphasize stability, efficiency, and control. These organizations value procedures, consistency, and predictable outcomes. Government agencies, traditional banks, and manufacturing companies often have hierarchy cultures. If you prefer clear expectations, structured environments, and well-defined career paths, hierarchy cultures might provide the stability you seek. Market cultures focus on competition, achievement, and results. These organizations are driven to win, whether that means beating competitors, exceeding sales targets, or dominating market share. Companies like Oracle and many sales-oriented organizations exemplify market cultures. If you're motivated by competition, energized by ambitious goals, and want to be rewarded based on performance, market cultures might inspire your best work. Understanding cultural fit is one of the most important career skills you can develop. Too often, people focus exclusively on job titles, salaries, and company reputations while ignoring whether the organizational culture matches their personal values and working preferences. Ask yourself some honest questions. Do you prefer structure and predictability, or do you thrive in chaotic, rapidly changing environments? Are you motivated more by individual achievement or team success? Do you like clear rules and procedures, or do you prefer the freedom to figure things out as you go? Do you want to be told exactly what to do, or do you prefer to take initiative and make your own decisions? Your answers to these questions should influence your career choices as much as the technical requirements of the job. A highly creative person will struggle in a rigid hierarchy culture regardless of how much they're paid. Someone who values stability and clear expectations will be miserable in a chaotic startup environment, even if the equity potential is enormous. Here's some practical advice. When you're interviewing for jobs, ask questions about the culture, not just the job responsibilities. How are decisions made? What does a typical day look like? How is success measured and rewarded? What happens when someone makes a mistake? The answers will tell you more about your likely job satisfaction than the formal job description. Remember, there's no such thing as good or bad culture, only cultures that do or don't match your preferences and the organization's environmental demand. The goal is finding the right fit for you at this stage of your career, while remaining open to how your preferences might change as you gain experience and mature professionally.